Hey, this is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in Quetzal, or Quetzal, a game that I have played only on Board Game Arena, but it looks beautiful. I'd love to play this in person, particularly because of one of the mechanisms that I'll mention right off the bat, which is that Quetzal is a worker placement game in which at the beginning of each round, you roll your workers as if they are dice. And the reason this matters is that your workers, I don't know if you can kind of see it. Yeah, you can see it right there, kind of. Your workers have a white side and a black side, and they mean different things. They represent different types of workers, even though they use the same meeples. So I might roll all my workers at the beginning of the round, and I might have 3 white workers, which I believe are archaeologists, and I can't remember what the black workers represent. But there are 2 different types of workers essentially using the same meeples. And so that adds just a little bit of a variety every round, a little bit of a puzzle, and it ties into the second mechanism that I'll talk about in a second. But I just wanted to mention that because how cool is that? You're rolling meeples in a game. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Very cool addition to the worker placement system in games. The other part of the game is also related to worker placement. So there are some kind of standard worker placement spots in Quetzal. They're shown over here. There's some over here. There's one that can fit any number of workers. And these I'm saying they're standard because each slot fits exactly 1 worker. Once you put a worker there, you pay the cost to put the worker there, and you at the end of the round you gain the benefit. So nothing else can happen there. However, there are also a variety of worker placement spots down here where they're essentially bidding spots in that you put, say I put 1 worker here, but you want to go there. You could then place more than 1 worker there and take over kind of control of that worker placement spot. So I'm not actually gaining anything when I place the worker. I'm just putting the worker there, not gaining anything right away. I don't gain anything to the end of the round. I'm just putting a worker there, and then you can come around before the round is done to place more workers there to take over that action spot. And when you do, my worker gets bumped back to me. So on the surface, this itself is a pretty cool mechanism. That there are some worker placement spots that are not actually blocked. You can go there as long as you place more workers there than another player. This reminds me a little bit of Honey Buzz, but in Honey Buzz you aren't actually bumping any workers back. Only one player is gaining the benefit from one of these actions at the end of each round. However, the other twist here has to do with what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this rolling of meeples and how they end up on either the white side or the black side. When you place workers on a spot, like say the yellow player has placed 3 workers here on the black side up, by doing so, they are establishing this action, this round, as a, it feels weird saying black and white here. I know black represents something else in this game. I don't know what to call them. I said archaeologists, we'll say explorers. Black side is the explorer side, just for the heck of it. The yellow player has established this action as an explorer action this round. And so any player who wants to outbid yellow needs to place explorers, their own explorers, and they need to place more than 3. And so this adds a really nice reason for you to pay attention to what meeples other players have at any given time. Not just the number of meeples, but the number of meeples of that specific type, either archaeologist or explorer. Because say I look around the table and I see that no one really rolled many archaeologists this round, but I rolled a bunch of them. It means that I could place, say, 2 archaeologists on a certain action and be confident that no one else or everyone else is much less likely to take over that spot with their archaeologists. I think that's a really, really clever twist in this game. I think that's the main thing. Yeah, the idea that you're bidding, you're getting your workers back if someone bumps you because you can then use them again. There's also a mechanism where you can actually re-roll workers in the middle of the round. And even on that action, there's a special little thing where they said if one of your meeples ends up on the side when you roll it, which is kind of just a moment of luck. Oh, my meeple ended up on the side instead of on one of the faces. Then you get an extra $1 when you go to that action. I like that they included that little twist in there. But yeah, some really cool mechanisms in a game that I hadn't heard of. Definitely worth checking out on Board Game Arena if you haven't played Quetzal yet. It was very easy to learn and play. We played it in about an hour for 5 players, I believe. It was either 4 or 5 players. And I had a lot of fun with it. So very cool mechanism here. If this reminds you of any other game where you actually roll workers or worker placement with like kind of a bidding element, I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. Thanks.